And welcome here, everyone. Hopefully, you are doing very well on this lovely Friday night. My name is Orbital, and with me is the best minion to ever wander off the rift. It is Random Minion Caster, RMC. How you doing? Because my voice is giving out. I hopefully will have you do a very long introduction.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure to put on me right away here, Orbital. I'm doing good. And after that intro, I feel like, I got to reciprocate the favor here. You call me the best minion to come off the rift. I got to call you out of this world. And we got ourselves an epic matchup tonight. Best of 5 here, Orbital. The ECC Grand Finals here. And the two teams we got with us, well, anybody who follows the ECC won't be strangers to them. We've got Molloy College coming in here, the previous champions of the ECC, facing up against the Farmingdale Rams, the perennial winners here, the one of the top 3 teams almost persistently within this league, and with a bit of a change up from the roster last time. So now they're challenging the current champions.
I'm very, very excited to see what they can do. Of course, we are looking at Farmingdale, who had a little bit easier time coming into here into the finals, which is, a little bit nice to say. But on the other side, or I think it was Molloy College, was it? Molloy had a little bit more interesting time, we should say.
Yeah, let's start with Farmingdale a little bit, because you mentioned they had an easier time. They had a bye week 7. Last week they had a forfeit win. So it looks like they had an easy time of it, but it does also mean that they didn't get quite as much time on the Rift, practicing, actively playing here. And Orbital, I'm not sure they need it, because granted, yeah, they had a bye, yeah, they had a forfeit. They've not lost a single game this season whatsoever here. They were 5-0 coming out the regular season. So Farmingdale, they're looking utterly monstrous here. Molloy, on the other hand, as you mentioned, much tougher run at it here last week. They went the full 5 games up against New York Tech here. The same team they had to beat last season to win it all. And a 5-game series, that's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of practice. And Molloy, their edges are honed and sharp, ready for the finals from that.
And of course, that all comes out here in game number 1 as Farmingdale will be on the blue side and Molloy on the red. We already get underway with the draft as the Wukong is banned away. A very targeted ban, and on the flip, the Riven also targeted. You know what? Why not? Another one. Darius also going to be banned away. Another target ban.
Yeah, looking like a lot of attention being thrown into the top lane by both of these teams. And I feel like that's been the strategy that a lot of teams have sort of employed against Molloy here. Though the Wukong, I feel like that's a little bit new, and perhaps it's based off of last week where, You're Always Right had an epic performance on that Wukong, played 3 games of it and won 2 out of those 3.
And a little bit of focus now towards that bot side there, Bosun, getting the Twitch ban away, which is not standard, I will add. The Twitch ADC is not well known, but then the Trundle is being seen as a little bit of a top jungle flex. I like the focus on that top side against Molloy.
Fiora rounding out the bans here, so definitely, as we mentioned, a lot of attention up into that top lane, but I don't expect to see those picks come until later. Orbital, you're choking right away when you see that pick up here. I know that you absolutely adore this cat, and that's in quotation marks. My hands are off screen, but yes.
Oh my god, immediate first pickup, but then the follow-up, Molloy saying, alright, we're going to go with this Nyla plus the ever so lovely Sona, a little bit more range, a little bit more follow-through in that area, but a very different combination. With the Nyla, you usually like a little bit of engage, so the fact that you're pairing it with the Sona, very different combination.
Yeah, and partially I wonder if that's because the Yuumi got taken away. Molloy's bot lane of Reno and Marbles there was playing primarily Sivir Yuumi last week here. The Nyla, it's a huge departure from that, and I feel like it's a little bit risky. It is a best of 5, so if you are going to take any risks here, I do like to see it being done in game 1 here. Now, Farmingdale, I expect to see them pick up their AD carry here as well, so that you already know what you're playing into. There's no reason to hold it any longer. And a lot of times against Nyla, what we've been seeing is either strong early game or outscaling here. And they've gone with the outscale. They've gone with the Jinx to try and outrange the Neela. So Neela, really got to play around that barrier. Make sure you get in there, get the damage off, because in extended fights, you're never going to be able to match that Jinx.
Not at all. So we'll see what they can follow up with, because you do need a little backbone here for the Molloy composition. You do have to have something to catch that Jinx if we're already lining that up. But they're still following through with a little bit of range, not so much damage though. And especially against a Hecarim, I'm very surprised to see this here. It is going to be that Kindred coming out here. A lot of range coming out, but very squishy all the same.
Yeah, from Tazo, I feel like this is a a confidence pick to come through, because you're right. Kindred into Hecarim is a little bit dicey. Hecarim can knock you out of ult, can displace you. It's a bit of a risk here, and you're saying that, hey, I can outplay all of that. And this does mean overall that both teams are still looking for their solo laners here, top and mid. We saw a lot of top focus in the first phase of bans, but it looks like now they're saying, okay, we're done with top, or maybe not. The Aatrox coming out once again, but they are throwing some attention into the mid lane, and my attention is also in that mid lane, because for Molloy here, Blue Violet has been one of their best performers, biggest carries, and Froggy Farmingdale has been really solid as well.
So it's going to be a battle in that sense, but how much do you actually want to throw there, right? For Farmingdale, you have focus on the top. You ban away the Fizz, but do you want to allocate another ban that direction? Because you are most likely going to have to blind pick that scenario. So what do you want to do? With 1 second left, you are going to another signature of Blue Violet here. It is going to be that Akali. Take it away for right now. Don't deal with it this time.
Yeah, I do like that Akali. Technically, it's a flex ban. You're always right. Has played it in the top lane before here. And for Molloy, it's a choice for them, like which lane are we gonna blind here? And I'm actually surprised they go with that mid lane, the Victor pickup here. That's confidence in Blue Violet, saying, hey, we trust Blue Violet to be able to scale up to carry, even in a disadvantageous lane here. And the pressure's now on You're Always Right, because he's gonna get counter pick. So he needs to win that lane out. He needs to prove that, hey, that counter pick was worth giving over.
Yeah, and I will say for Molloy, though, I am still a little bit scared because we're seeing a lot of squishies on that side. So I want to see a little firepower come out for the top side for You Are Always Right. But taking a look at Farmingdale, blocking in this Aurelia, which has been a treat over the course of the last few weeks. We've seen a lot of teams picking it up. It's been a solid pick whether you take it top or mid.
Yeah, and the new items, especially the increase in all the tankiness with the items here, has made Irelia really difficult to deal with in the mid lane. She was already incredibly strong, just rushing that Blade of the Ruined King, having a ton of sustain, but now with the tank items as well, she's nigh unkillable. And Orbital, it's not Irelia into the mid lane looking to punish the Victor. It's a blind Irelia into the top. Instead, we're seeing the Azir Victor handshake in the mid lane here, where Azir often wins out a little bit more in that early game here, and then Victor looks better in team fights, Azir better in the zone control come the later stages of the game.
Ooh, and then follow up here. If Molloy is actually going to go for this, this could be a challenge back. So the set being hovered and locked in, this is confirmed. It is a set versus Aurelia, which is one that we don't see too often, especially with some of the items, though. This could be a different twist on how to suppress that Aurelia, how to keep that massive, annoying champion down.
Yeah, and I don't know about this one, Orbital. I mean, I think Set's a really strong lane champion. He is a bit of a bully, particularly good against tanks, but against a higher skill expression duelist like Irelia here, with that Set, I feel like you really do need to bully out early. And if that's your counter pick, then for Molloy here, they might need to double down on that top side early. And Kindred, not necessarily the champion that comes to mind when I think of sort of early game ganking junglers here, but perhaps if we do see, the Mims overextending a little bit, that could be the case. Now, Orbital, drafts aside here, I do want to touch a little bit on the teams, because we mentioned before that, Molloy are the reigning champions here in this division. They've got 4 out of 5 of the players coming back from that spring split here, where they managed to win it all. Farmingdale didn't perform as well in that spring split, but they've changed up their roster quite a bit. I believe it's the Mims and Liz staying on, but Liz actually lane swapping from mid to support here, and then 3 newer players coming in. And these newer players here, Orbital, have really given life to the team, especially on that top half of the map where, the Mims, Terrence, MV Froggy, they haven't lost their lanes all split long. And so when we touch on the Set needing to win, the Victor Azir handshake, I'm a little bit worried for Molloy. It feels like they're putting eggs a little bit into it, towards that bot lane basket a bit.
Yeah, and I do have to agree. This is going to be a large question mark in that situation, right, for Farmingdale. A little bit of a shakeup there, but Molloy also giving a lot more back in that. And again, the Neela and the Sona, I'm very interested to see how it does. So a little bit of pressure on both sides here. And again, the fact that Molloy have already gone all 5 sets, I love the fact that Farmingdale are coming back for that angle, just being like, hey, we're gonna fight back for this. We know that you're the current champions, but we still have so much firepower. I mean, this is a group that I do believe did not lose a single regular season game, right, or a single regular season series. They're still looking to do that here in this setup as well.
Yeah, and we are Hearing the team saying a little bit that, Farmingdale was saying, oh, we need to close this out early. We have to leave the esports arena. So they're looking for a 3-0 here, Orbital. Not just to protect the pride, but, they've got to go home after this. So they're looking for a quick one. Molloy, on the other hand, I think, even if they lose game one, I'm not too worried for them. I feel like that's comfort zone. But of course, they're not looking to lose game one, right? They've got the practice and they have the time. Like we said, Farmingdale, 2 bye weeks. Molloy, they've been grinding it out here. They want to take the game one. And now touching on the draft a little bit, Molloy, we kind of mentioned, hey, with their composition, it's a little bit risky, right? Kindred kind of needs to pop off early here. Neela can be punished a little bit in lane, and particularly up against the Jinx here, you now have to win out before we hit that late game stage, and Jinx just outranges you, and Set likewise with a bit of an early game. So I'm looking at Molloy to really step up and take over the game early, whereas for Farmingdale, I feel like they can sit back a little bit, especially pre-level 6 here, where all their champions, Aurelia aside, want to farm up, and even Aurelia really starts to pop off at that level 6 once, you've got that, and maybe the Blade of the Ruined King as well.
All right, well, there you go. Are you over the timer or under the timer? That all depends on which team you are more favored towards. Will it be Molloy with the early game pressure, or will it be Farmingdale with the late game scaling? Only time will tell. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 1 here with the ECC Finals. And here we go. Game number 1 here between Farmingdale and, of course, the ever so lovely Molloy College Esports, the reigning champions, coming back here trying to give us a what for, at least against Farmingdale. I'm excited to see what they can do, but again, the champions that they have selected leave us a little bit more wanting with how things are set up.
You know, overall, we keep saying, like, Molloy are the reigning champions. I think we have to keep reinforcing that because Farmingdale are coming into this one the favorites. They're looking like the current champions the way they've been playing here. So we are getting sort of a clash of kings, as it were, and we're into the game here. One thing I do want to highlight, interestingly enough, both junglers, neither of them went Moss Stomper. We've seen Moss Stomper just completely dominate in terms of jungle pet picks. Not this game.
No, it's going to be a little bit of a change up here for Terrence. We're going to see a little bit of a blue side come out here, and for the side of Tazo, it's going to be a little bit of a red ember glowing in there, so a nice little color change there. I'm partial to the red because for Coco is obviously my favorite, and I just had to link that to Pokemon. I don't know why. I had to. No other choice.
Hashtag not sponsored, Nintendo, please. But I will say, I actually really like the Gus Walker for Terrence here on that Hecarim, because you're going for maximum speed, right? You've got Ghost, you've got Phase Rush. You're just trying to speed as fast as you can here. And we get the close-up of the pets. Absolutely love it. They are actually very, very cute, though. I personally prefer the evolved form, but I'm one of those guys, you know, in Pokemon who likes the evolved form more. Hence why, you know,
see, I will absolutely say Fuecoco is my favorite because no thoughts behind the eyes, such as no thoughts in this top lane, as they have absolute disregard for their HP bars. Both top laners just went at it at level 1. Holy crap.
Yeah, the Mims, you know, telling you're always right to pay some respect. You're with that set. We set sets a bully, but level 1, that's a risk. And you could see the Mims hovering over that wall, dropping that ward. That was a look for a kill there. The Mims was thinking for a second, should I flash over? I think I can get the kill here. And because you zoned out, you're always right on that trade. The Mims has the experience advantage here. You're always right. Has to sit back a little bit, try and heal back up, wait for that Duran shield to really tick through before stepping back up again.
And the fact that you lost, I want to say, about a wave here is very painful as well, right? Because you had to go the long way and follow through all the way behind means that you lose out on a lot of extra gold. And now you get danced on like this. You can already see the shield goes up, and now you get auto attack, but you get stunned. And the tower shot is going to work, but you do get first blood, and you know what? You'll take it. You do die to Tazo, but you get the kill in advance, and I think that's more than Demins could ask for.
Part of me overall wonders if Demins just kept running, whether he could get away there. For a second, it looked like the minion creep actually blocked Tazo on that jump, but either way, the Mims able to secure that first kill here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the Mims running Ignite, no TP, so you're always right, we'll still be okay with that trade, because he'll be able to get back to lane, soak up that experience, and at least they traded one.
Ooh. Now the jungler is meeting because that was an exceptionally quick gank up towards that top side. And Tazo was kind of forced into it. So right now Terrence just trying to get a little extra fun here. Trying to get to that mark because it's already spawned. And Tazo also realizing this is going to be a little bit dangerous. Gets marked down, but it's level 3 versus level 4. Not sure you really like this, but now Blue Violet stuck in the wrong spot. Is going to get some attack damage, but guess who's here first? It is going to be Bozen. And Bozen says, give me a little bit of extra. And down goes a little bit of a stasis field. So, MU do have to back off. And it's Farmingdale. They're going to have to watch themselves limp away. Mark still goes the way of Tazo.
Yeah, Molloy playing that incredibly well. They defensively played that 3v4 as well. Marbles able to just sit in lane, continue farming this entire time here. And for Terrence, that's traditionally what you do with that Hecarim, right? You've got that early level 4. You just try and pick on the other jungler, especially when you knew Tazo went to the top lane, but it backfired a little bit. Topside once again. Mims.
The Mims just doesn't care. There are no cares right now. Just continuing to be a bully here. You are always right. Might not be always right here. Takes 2 tower shots. One more auto attack. We'll take it into Mims. Makes it another 1-for-1. Couple question mark pings, but you'll take it.
Okay. So, question mark pings, maybe, but what I want to highlight, the Mims still has Ignite. And this time, you're always right, doesn't have TP. So when they go back up into top lane, don't be surprised, Orbital, if we see the Mims all in almost immediately here, looking for the kill, especially if that wave actually bounces back up.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it, right? The Mims is having a fantastic time, or at least a gambling time, as I mean, again, when you trade back and forth like this, you are always running the risk of falling behind in this sort of status. So, the fact that you're willing to fight it out all the time means that this top lane is going to continue to get very, very spicy. You can see Tazo, right? Even though the camp's kind of led there, I wouldn't be unopposed to the fact that, okay, well, now the Mins is like, all right, I realize I might be drawing some heat here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good call from the Mims. If you are going to play that aggressively here, you do need to make sure Tazo's not in the area. The wave didn't quite bounce out completely, right? So it's going to take a while to come out. And that might actually backfire on Molloy because Terrence is also in the area here. If the Mins wants to just kind of wait for Terrence to sneak into that bush or even just brute force through the river.
Could be. But it's still going to happen. It's just a constant back and forth here. But Ural's right, is going to step up, does have the ulti available, but, I mean, who are you going to really ulti? Shield goes up, you do snag a huge punch, and a tower shot, but you are going to barely live. The Mims realizes that was a bit more than they could probably want here. You Are Always Right is going to try and sustain through. This level 5's only way through. Gets a good stun down and a couple more punches, but that's You Are Always Right. Takes the kill on the horsey.
Oh, man, those ninja tabis right now, or the steel-plated caps here for... set for You're Always Right, doing so much work in that particular play. And don't forget Set's passive as well. The lower he gets, the faster he regens, able to survive that. Now You're Always Right, great position from that play here. And I think for Farmingdale, maybe you kind of leave topside alone a bit.
Oh, and then the stun, it connects, and the haymaker takes the life to Mins. And didn't I say it, RMC? I said when you play with fire a bit too much, it is just gambling at that point. You Are Always Right. 3, 2, and 1.
And that's why, kids, don't gamble, because you'll always lose. Farmingdale not only losing up that top side as well, but losing out on the Dragon. Great play from Tazo and the gank.
Oh, man. Just so much aggression being all over the map. And Molloy benefiting from everything here. Tazo being able to grab that and snag a flash out now means Marbles and Reno are going to be so happy about this bot lane setup.
Yeah, and for Molloy here, this is as good as your early game. You could pretty much hope for here. Your top side, that counter pick, has paid dividends. Your bot lane's farming up incredibly well here. Tazo hasn't been punished and has been able to pick up marks. And the mid game is where this comp really wants to start coming online. Level 6 hit by almost everybody, just waiting on Reno right now.
Well, you know, we did say just waiting on Reno, but Tazo was ready to go in with the Lamb's Respite. And now Terrence is on the wrong side of the map, but they quickly turn on Blue Violet, who says, I can take a little bit more time. A little bit of stasis. Keeps them all safe, and they are going to exit nicely. Farmingdale trying to get aggressive, but only being met with resilience.
Oh, they're not done yet.
No. Tazo has to run away. And now in comes Froggy. Great jump away. More auto attacks, but this is do or die now. FSC, they're going to watch the stun go out, and now it's going to be a turnaround. Great ulti coming in from Marbles. They take one down, trade one, pass it around. Looking for a bit more, but it's a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, and without Tazo there, Farmingdale feeling, I think, a little bit overconfident. I wouldn't stick around that blue buff there. I think the re-engage could be potent here. And yeah, if Reno was level 6, that could have gone a lot worse there for Farmingdale. So Farmingdale, they're continuing the pressure, but overall, I don't know if that's the right call. We already said they've got great scaling here. Considering how some of these fights have gone, I kind of want to see Farmingdale sit back a little bit here.
Yeah, we want to see him try and scale up. We were talking about it, right? This team that wants to be a little bit more farm heavy, wants to get their items, wants to get their scaling done. And with how aggressive they were kind of playing, they put themselves into a little bit of a hole here. So how do they recover? As you said, maybe play a little bit softer, but the big question is, will Molloy let them, right? You said it at the beginning. This is a team that wants to play aggressive, wants to be kind of up and in your face. FSC have kind of given them the perfect opportunity to continue doing so. Oh, well, not if that happens. Oh, do you get it? All right, jungle changes.
Yeah, they're fine. They got this here. They're probably more used to jungle changes than we are still at this point in time. Now, you raised up an interesting point there, Orbital, about Molloy allowing them to. Molloy hasn't actually played that aggressively up to this point. This is the first time we're seeing Tazo actually invade here, and you're doing it with the additional help of Blue Violet. Terrence?
Oh, well, we just said that, but immediately goes out with the onslaught of shadows. And you know what? They'll get a little bit more for it, but guess who's in the wrong side here? That's going to be a jump in. Flash was used to try and stay alive, and Tazo is going to escape. And it's the 4th death for the Mins after trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
35 health on Tazo there. One last tick of the Ignite would have done him in. And great sort of first invade coming in from Tazo there. Okay, Marvel's to say. The other thing I was going to follow up with was, with that win, theoretically, Molloy should be able to get Herald. But instead, they actually backed out, and Farmingdale might get their first objective of the game. Terrence sitting in there, trying to take that Herald right now. And Molloy, for all their aggressive play there, they actually don't have vision. So I don't think they know this is being done.
You know, for how much we said that the teams were going to be playing certain ways, I don't think either of our sides have really, either of our predictions have come true, but it is going to be the Herald, as you said, going the way of FSC. Do they use it top, mid, or bot? That remains to be seen, but Tazo is very, very content right now, 3-1-0, and I think has been able to collect at least 2 or 3 marks. I don't think the mark on the Hecarim went through, so, you know, taking a little bit of time to ramp up, but still, 3 kills at the beginning is going to lend itself to a lot better early game than we were expecting from MU.
Well, I did say that they needed to play the early game, so for now, they're on course here. Tazo stealing that one.
Oh. And Tazo just says, you know what, I can get over the wall, no worries at all, but guess who's here, Bosun, ghosting up and getting in their face. Very nice lost chapter, and they're going to lock up too, but again, the Limbs Rested is going to do so much here. In they jump, and Tazo lives again with a beautiful, beautiful sweep. Reno is here to help, and now they turn it around. Another swap, another ult, but the Emperor's Divide keeps them all safe. In goes a little bit of a laser, though. It is going to kill. Liz is down, and Molloy is now 8 kills in the lead.
This bot lane, we were just saying if Reno was level 6 in that last engage, maybe goes very differently. Well, we get to see it now. Reno level 7, perfect crescendo, and the clutch heal to get Tazo out as well. Molloy starting to run away with this game, and Orbital, you know, we're talking about this coming into this game, and we're wondering about this bot lane. On paper, Marbles and Reno are the lowest ranked players on this map right now, and we had questions about this bot lane, but right now they are answering it in full.
I'm terrified, RMC. I'm absolutely terrified, right? Because we've seen what Neela's can do. We've seen what they can do, and the same thing is true for Kindreds that get out of control. I love the fact that you pointed out, right? Reno and Marbles were not on our radar, and yes, they are kind of collectively behind Bosun and Liz every time. They are getting to these fights a little bit late, but you can see it's worked for them, right? Gold in their favor, about 500 combined between the 2 bot laners.
Hey man, heroes always come a little bit late, and Reno managed to save Tazo, so good enough from them there. And once again, for Farmingdale, it feels like, okay, when they're trying to force plays, it's really not working out in their favor here. Props to them that despite being down 5 kills, they're only down about 1,700 gold here. So they're not out of the game yet. They just need to make sure it doesn't keep hemorrhaging. And Mims, this is not the way.
Oh no, the Mims. Oh, I don't even know why you flashed there. I'm sorry, buddy, but this is... It's starting to look a bit painful. 5 deaths in the pocket now.
Yeah, it's typical of Irelia players. Like, you want to
go in, don't label them all like that. They're not as bad as Yasuo's. Come on, man.
That's true, but Yasuo got banned. And unfortunately,
true.
With the Irelia right now, I understand what Mims is doing. And Mims is farming up just fine, doing okay in the 1v1. But normally, you know, if you're going to play this aggressive, you're trying to create space for your team on the other side of the map. But Terrence is not in position to make plays. So when Mims is dying right here, the Mims is not really helping out Farmingdale, and they're sending them further and further behind. Now, the fear is what happens when you're always right. Leaves that top lane. Normally, sets kind of like a utility tank at that point. But if he's far ahead enough here, he could be more than a tank. He could be a threat to Terrence looking to engage, to Froggy trying to pull off that Shurima shuffle.
Well, let's see if it does come to that. Again, there's still plenty of game left to play. Yes, the kills have been absolutely furious, but I mean, we do have to wait and see. Farmingdale can still try and slow the pace down, can still try and wait things out, but it doesn't look like they really want to. Terrence looking for another gank towards this mid lane.
Okay.
And ult, drop this, and is now going to chase in again. No ult and no flash. Oh. Actually, the ult is up, but they are going to get the kill. Very nicely done. Is Froggy going to die? Froggy has to flash away. Could flash out. The burn should not take enough. And Froggy is going to be safe. It was a close kill, but a kill nonetheless. Bot lane, though, seeing another set of aggression. Is the last Rocket going to take? No, Marbles is going to live. And you know what? despite the early kills, it seems that Farmingdale are not giving up.
Yeah, Farmingdale has been trying to do this all game long here, Orbital. The difference between those two ganks, or those two fights and everything that's come beforehand, is Tazo here. Tazo not being present. Oh, can he 1v2 this?
Well, yeah, we're talking about Tazo, but we're also talking about you are always right, and at this point, he is always right. That's all we can say here. When you bring the set out, the set that, honestly, we were kind of questioning at the early stages in Champion Select, it's not being super destructive, right? At least here in the early game, gets an early tower, is absolutely popping off here. A lot of CS to the name. You are destructive by all rights.
Oh, bro, he needs to change his name. He's not always right. He's always left.
Oh, okay. I don't...
He's always left alive, bro. They've tried ganking multiple times here, and he's still left alive.
I'm still salty that you pulled that off.
Mims?
Well, you know what? At this point, I'll give it to you because this is a power play showstopper to bring it close, and you are always right. Says Blue Violet. RMC, this top lane is out of control.
Yeah, I was saying that set might be an issue when he leaves the lane. Nah, he is an issue in the lane right now. Demims looked like he was holding out perfectly fine in the 1v1, but as we can see, it was at the expense of his turret here. Now, Terrence wrapping around, looking for Tazo here. I don't know if you're actually strong enough at this point. Look at the items here. Terrence still has not completed first item, first mythic. Tazo already on that Kraken Slayer.
Yep, already able to shred through any HP that you need to. And happily doing so, but this is going to be a catch. Froggy is going to jump over, try and shove Tazo into the wrong spot, but because you're against that wall, it is going to be quite safe. Dragon coming up in just a few. So you're going to play this as well as you can. MU going to try and volley out Terrence. It's not going to work, though. Just Terrence charges away. They're still dancing this, though. I'm amazed Farmingdale has not been killed more for chasing into the enemy jungle.
A little bit, yeah. They are down. Last time we checked, 1.7k. It's more than doubled at this point. We're looking at about 3.6 thousand gold difference between these two teams. And despite that as well, you saw Farmingdale, they kept the onslaught of shadows, so they had a chance to re-engage. That chance existed right up to the moment You're Always Right showed up. And then at that point, yeah, you don't want to fight this. That's the right call. And not only are they going to secure the dragon with that TP, You're Always Right is also going to defend that top lane.
And at this point, you're taking the consolation prize, right? Farmingdale going for that Herald, just saying, okay, we'll try and get a little bit more on that side, but even that's not secure. Going to see a little jump forward. They are all going to collapse here, and because of that teleport, they are now going to get collapsed on. They are going to lose at least one, maybe two, and they grab two away. Farmingdale pay the price of 2 kills for taking that objective.
Might it be more here? Tazo, I think, was thinking about turret diving. Does have the Lamb's Respite available at Froggy.
Oh my gosh, you're going to try your best. You can't jump over the wall because Tazo is still alive, and because of that, couple auto attacks left. It is easy pickings for Tazo. One more zap is not going to take it. Tazo has lived for so long, and Tazo lives once again.
I love it. Molloy showing us why they are the reigning champions here. Ranks be damned. Regular season be damned here. Their coordination has been massively on point, and Tazo once again getting out of live in a really rough situation, and the deficit for Farmingdale here just keeps on growing. I said it before, I'll say it again. Farmingdale, they need to calm down.
There are at least 4 separate times that Tazo should have died already. There are at least 4 separate times that Tazo should have been dead, and yet it's still only on 1 death. Ridiculous to say display from Molloy. And again, they're showing up here. This is a consistent show from them, and I'm very, very excited for Farmingdale. It feels like they kind of lost the plot here. They've started taking some fights that we're not sure of. And, I mean, how do they recover here? How do they even come back in this?
So, if this was 5 minutes ago, well, when it was 5 minutes ago, I told you they need to sit back and farm a little bit here. That's not really an option for them here because of the dragon stacking soul points on the table soon enough. And Farmingdale will have to fight that. This is a Chemtech soul here, which does a lot in terms of these extended fights. Mims finally choosing the better half of discretion, of valor there, discretion, surviving.
Oh, but Blue Violet not having the choice to duck out of that fight is going to be a kill picked up. So for Farmingdale, picking up one at a time, just picking up scraps where they can.
Yeah, good kill, good pick onto Violet. That is one of the ways you come back in here, is to find these picks. But the bigger question after you get this picks is, then what? Can they push in? Can they get that turret? If not, it kind of doesn't matter. And like we said, that timer is still ticking down for them. I'd love to see them start trying to set up a little bit for that dragon here. Get control over mid and bot. We saw the push coming through from Bosun. Really good. Get the shove coming out on that bot side here. And instead of the singular pick, if you can get a pick before a major objective, get a pick before a team fight here, that's how Farmingdale are looking to turn this around.
And honestly, you're praying it's someone like Tazo, right? If you can grab Tazo, that's a huge relief off your back. That's a huge shutdown goal. And I would say you are always right, but you are always right is always right. Just an absolute beast right now. They are going to look for a few more, though. They are going to catch the Sona, and Sona just flashes away. Beautiful job by Reno. You do draw the teleport. You do draw a couple extra summoner spells. But now Blue Violet trying to chase for a little extra damage. 2-player extra chaos, or stasis field. Very nicely done to slow down the fight, but Demims, oh man, Demims, I'm not sure if you want to be here. No one else is available, so you're going to have to try and run for safety.
Did he get out?
Blue Violet might be the way out as they do go into a little bit of a Zanya's, but it is going to be Bosun who says, give me a chance. Going to be a nice shutdown for the Jinx.
And finally, all that aggression from Mims paying off. Even if Mims had died there, Farmingdale are okay with it. Mims got the outer turret, got the bounty, the objective bounty as well, but that pressure from the mid lane catching Blue Violet again. Blue Violet supposed to be the big carry here for the side of Molloy. Getting picked twice in a row means that Farmingdale, they get out scot-free, they get control, and with Dragon coming up as well, Farmingdale theoretically also get first move to set up Vision to contest it.
I mean, they should, but they're taking a little bit of time to get out along that way, so really it's going to be a head-to-head, and for this fight, I feel like it might lend itself to Demims again, the positioning, right? That last fight that could have broken out did not leave more for wanting. Demims was just like, oh, okay, no one else is here, so we don't have to fight it, but Terrence is also saying this might be a chance. He goes Marbles into that little bit of invulnerability, which I still think is absolutely crazy. But now we're going to wait and see. All 5 members of Molloy are currently stationed around the top side of this river. What more can they get? Ooh, Tazo taking a chunk.
Yeah, a lot of poke there coming out
from
Froggy. Still has the Answer Spit. And you have to keep in mind that these teams, a lot of their damage is kind of bursty here. But Farmingdale, they have the inside track on that mid. They've secured push mid. They've secured push bot here, Orbital. They're only lacking vision at Dragon, but they're already in there.
And I feel that's the most important thing, right? You don't know how much time has passed, and you're always right, is going to try and play a little bit aggression, but they are going to jump all the way in. Unstoppable Onslaught is going to charge in. In goes the Lance Respite, and they do kill off that Horseman. Everyone is shoved off. Oh my gosh, this fight is absolutely popping off. Farmingdale, they wipe the fight. They brutalize everything that goes on, and they take the ace out of nowhere. They pop off.
Okay, I see you, Farmingdale. They heard us talking about Molloy, and they took it personally there. Beautiful team fight. Froggy, massive with the Emperor's Divide. It didn't quite shove everybody out of the Kindred's Lamb's Respite, but it grouped everybody up for Bosun to just pop off with those rockets there. They stave off the threat of Soul, but they took a little bit too long, and they can't actually pick up the Baron now. And hey, Orbital, if they won that fight, maybe they don't need to take Baron here. They've equalized the gold, and now if they just set up Vision, they can pull a complete repeat of what they just pulled at the Dragon Pit at the Baron Pit.
I feel like Molloy are very pissed off that fight went that way, because they have been on track the entire time, right? They were on track for a majority share, but there were a couple flaws in their in that fight that were exposed, right? Number one is they don't really have an engage tool of their own, and number two, they are quite squishy. Everything kind of relies on that Lamb's Respite being up to contain a lot of that fight. So as you say, this is going to be a huge testament, but Terrence realizing that last fight only went that way because you were with the team.
Yeah, and for Terrence here, I feel like Terrence is playing Fire, has not actually computed the mana immune, the mirror mana just yet here. That's the big power spike I'm waiting to see come through for Terrence here to really start doing that damage, and then maybe you can start to one-shot targets. Oh, that poke coming through here. It really hurts, Orbital, and even with that Sona, even with that Neela, the healing is just not enough to match up right now.
Not at all, and Tazo was trying to look for a flank, but really, what kind of flank is Kindred gonna do? And Blue Violet's like, I don't want to flank at all. I don't want anything to do with anyone I'm just going to keep farming this bot side. I'm not sure if that's the one you want to do, right? This is a Victor. This is a team fight champion. They're just getting chunked down. It's kind of harsh to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good call from Blue Violet. You know you can get that outer turret, and you've got enough wave clear mid here. And I like that Blue Violet didn't try and go for that inner. You go for that inner, you lose your inner mid yourself here. Now that Blue Violet's back, now is when Molloy can start posturing aggressively.
They are going to get a catch on one. Out goes Froggy. And you know what? The aggression from Molloy, we did say that they didn't really have an engage. Well, that's one way to engage. You draw that flash, and you have a free entry onto Froggy once again.
Okay, and I think that one, Farmingdale, got baited a little bit by their own turret. Thought they were kind of safe, but you're always right. Incredibly tanky already with that Sterix gauge. We saw him just kind of walk under that turret, and it felt like it caught Froggy a little bit by surprise here. Potential ambush.
They are going to jump their way in and get a good catch out. They fear everyone, and in goes the Vanguard's Edge. Are they going to get even more? Yes, they do. Easily done. The always right oppressor, the Mims, is going to slaughter them on the back line, but guess who else is here? You are always right, saying get out of this lane, but now they chase a little bit back. Fight number 2, and the punch lands, you are always right, is going to try and dance on their face, and it's still the kills in the back line. The Mims is going to survive way longer than expected, and Froggy is now going to try and chase one down. A little bit of slide, a little bit of a push, and it is! There's another ace for Farmingdale as they sweep that fight 3-5.
I said change his name to You're Always Left. I think we got to change to You Were Always Right here. Fortunately for You're Always Right, he's kind of tanky, yeah, but the mixed damage that's coming through is massive. And I was actually a bit worried that Froggy wouldn't have enough consistent damage to carry that fight when we saw Bolson getting caught out. But he is so accelerated right now in terms of his items, in terms of his damage. Yes, You're Always Right is a little bit richer, but if you can't kill Froggy, if you can't kill Bolson, either of these threats can carry the team fights.
The fact that this has gone on in this way just shows why both these teams really do deserve to be here, right? Molloy taking some of those early fights and really giving us that taste of what they can do, and especially You Are Always Right, right? 10-4-4. And the rest of the team trying to scale up as well. Tazo and Blue Violet, the only one that we really haven't seen is Marbles, right? 0-2 and 6 had some phenomenal ultimates earlier on, but right now struggling to find those opportunities. And then on the other side, right, Froggy wasn't really in the game for quite some time, and then all of a sudden 7-1-3, being an absolute menace on the Rift here. At this point, we're now reaching the 30-minute mark, and my gosh, RMC, I don't even know where to really look for. This is all getting so spicy.
Okay, well, first of all, Marbles, I think, is still doing his job well. We're seeing still really good utilization of that Neela ultimate to pull people in to set You're Always Right up for maximal damage there. So I think Marbles is doing perfectly fine. The problem right now is partially scaling. After Farmingdale got that one big team fight and equalized things, remember we had said in the beginning, Farmingdale outscale, especially towards these team fights. You're asking, where do we look? We look at Bolson. We look at Froggy. They, as long as they stay alive right now, Molloy are going to struggle to match team fight damage output. So Molloy, they're still strong right now, but they've got to find the critical targets. If they lose one more big team fight here, then I'm starting to get very worried for them.
Oh, well, it doesn't look like they're going to, because this fight's starting out almost exactly like it did before. It is a back line wall up here as Farmingdale are going to chase, but Bosun is all alone, flashes out to safety, and it is going to be that fight. Land stress it used so late. Showstop actually brings You Are Always Right out of the fight, and they clean it. Molloy fall to the wayside in a clean ace this time around.
Okay, now I'm worried for Molloy here, Orbital. Not only did they just get styled on, Farmingdale with the B emote synergy. Gotta love it here. And they're just looking to push right in here. They can't end the game, I don't think. It's about 20 seconds here. Actually, I might be wrong. Bolson is just ripping right through structures.
Normally, I'm the one that doesn't believe that they can end, but this time around, I think they can. Farmingdale looking like absolute menaces here. They're going to take the Nexus Towers. They are going to take the Nexus here, and they will move up in this series 1-0.
Well, Farmingdale did say they were in a rush for this series here. They are looking to close out as fast as they can, and my goodness, Orbital, that is a statement game one here, because Molloy played that incredibly well in the early game. We got to see all their strengths. We got to see their synergy here. Individually, their laning, really, really solid. For the first half of the mid game, We saw their ability to find those team fights there, even without reliable engage. But Farmingdale is lossless for a reason. Even when they were down, even when they were behind here, Orbital, the smallest window, and Terrence just pulls the trigger immediately. Full faith on Froggy, on Bosun. And hey, they repaid that trust in spades.
You know what? They took the wind right out of my lungs right now. They are absolutely cruising, and I can't wait to see if they can continue doing so. Don't go anywhere. The ECC finals here for League of Legends will continue with Farmingdale and Molloy here in just a bit. Alrighty, and back we go. We are here for game number 2, and my gosh, I don't know. We didn't expect that happening at the end of the game, considering how the early stages went, right? There were some moments that You Are Always Right played exceptionally well, but it could not hold up against the weight of Farmingdale.
Yeah, I feel like I got whiplash from watching how that game went there. Because it was all Molloy in the early game. They had, what, an 8-kill lead at one point here. You know, they were up 5,000 gold at, what was it, 15, 18 minutes here. And usually that is a sizable enough lead that you can close a game out. But Farmingdale, they just kind of turned it around on a dime. One dragon fight, was all it took here. And Orbital, if I'm Molloy here, I'm a bit concerned because there's the mental aspect of it where we were in control. What happened? What on earth happened here? And maybe it's a bit of a draft issue. I think part of it was they could not find that reliable engage. They were relying on Farmingdale to make questionable choices, and they punished it immaculately. But when Farmingdale stopped making those mistakes, I think that was when Molloy struggled and through that mid game, through that late game to really close things out.
And taking a look at game number 2, I expect a little bit of a draftive coming out of the side of Molloy, right? A little bit more rounded composition here, right? We are talking about the damage that they did have. Didn't have too much on the engage front, could not be proactive. At the same time, for Farmingdale, we're actually seeing a switch up from them as well. Liz is actually coming out here. It is going to be Zukima coming in the support position.
Yeah, and because Liz is heading out, I want to give props to her on her game 1 as well. I thought the Yuumi played really, really well. She played really good disruption there, and she did keep Bosun, Froggy, and especially Terrence alive throughout a lot of those fights here. With Yuumi, it feels like we underplay Yuumi a little bit because she's always attached to somebody there, but I think Liz did great. So my question now for Farmingdale is, bringing in Zukima. What's Zukima going to bring to the table here? Because if it's just going to be more Enchanter play, I felt like Liz did a great job. So I want to see maybe a bit more engage. I don't think that was the problem for Farmingdale. I think Terrence served immaculately, served really, really well as the primary engage here. But I guess if you're trying to speed things up, maybe a second source of engage, especially with Molloy's squishy backline that we saw last game, might be something that Farmingdale is saying, hey, we can speed things up even faster with this.
So the question now becomes, what do Farmingdale need to do to actually change things out? And, we talked about, the bot lane already, and we talked a little bit about Terrence being that engage. What does top lane need to do, right? Because we got to address the elephant in the room here. There was some moment where the Mims was like, I'm going to go ham, right?
Yeah, that's a bit of a, player question overall you got to ask there. And, let's put it this way. We saw the Mims mechanics. His hands were on point. Even when he was dead, down a bunch of gold, the Mims was still a threat onto the back line. So it feels like the Mims just kind of needs to not go so aggressive when you're falling behind here. But it did serve as a pressure point as well when he played almost recklessly in that top lane. So yes, ideally the Mims plays a bit more carefully, but we'll have to see how it goes. Now, side swap as well here, Orbital, and this time, potentially they could give counter pick to the Mims. So if we do see that come through, we saw how effective counter pick was for Molloy in that top lane here. Maybe the Mims says, hey, give me last pick. I want to stop my lane. I want a redo of game 1 here.
They just go set Irelia again. That'll be the icing on the cake. We are seeing a change up though. It is going to be that Ribbon and the Pike coming out here. So it is throwing a lot of respect down to Zukima in that bot lane.
Yeah, fair enough. We were just talking about engage there. Pike's one way to do it. I feel like Pike is one of the extremes like Blitzcrank in terms of the engage spectrum there. And Pike can carry games on his own. For Farmingdale, though, I'm curious to see if they actually change up the bans. Wukong, Darius, we saw that, in game 1. Trundle was the sort of last one to come through. But the set I almost feel like is more blindable in that top lane there. And considering how much trouble it gave, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Farmingdale swap up that last ban.
Well, only time will tell. And, if it is going to be that Trundle, hey, go for it. But do you want to ban away that set? I think that's also a great answer. There's also plenty on the table, like other lanes that you could ban out. That's also an option. It is going to be that Kindred, though. Respect handed over to Tazo.
Okay. That is very interesting to me, actually, that they banned the Kindred, because I felt like the Kindred really wasn't the issue. I think Terrence and Froggy played incredibly well around it. Those Emperor's Divides especially really messing up Tazo's ability to get off good Lamb's Respites. And Orbital champion we completely neglected to mention. Well, we talked about it in terms of Liz here, but Liz is out, and more importantly, Molloy's blue side. They first picked the Yuumi, and they played 4 games of it last week, paired especially with that Sivir. But honestly, if they want to run a Neela Yuumi bot lane, that's still a really strong bot lane. If anything, I feel like Yuumi is the better Enchanter, is almost like better Sona.
Well, we'll see if they can do it. Of course, Farmingdale are going to bring up their own here because the Twitch was banned away in game 1. I repeat, the Twitch was banned away in game 1. So they are going to hover. If they do lock it in, that might be their secret answer to this pickup.
Okay, yeah, it looks like they locked it in here, Orbital, and Not so secret if Molloy knew to ban it here in game one. I personally do really like Twitch, and I think it's a good answer into Yuumi, especially. You've got a lot of range, so you can kind of just stand there and free fire onto Yuumi plus whoever she's on and often rip right through them, especially if you get the surprise factor here. I also really like the Graves pickup for Terrence here, because I feel like given how Terrence performed in game one, it's got a lot of carry potential in Orbital. That ooh, when you see that Yasuo locked in here, is that a good ooh or a bad ooh?
It's a, I'm having PTSD from all my solo queue ooh here. And the fact that it's exemplified with that Yuumi is going to be crazy, but we can't even talk about that right now. That Zillion being hovered here. This is a Zukima special, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. And I really like it into the Yasuo as well, because you can double bomb Yasuo so that he gets stunned as soon as he finishes his last breath there. He can't actually follow up. And more importantly, with that chrono shift, you can keep people alive, especially your key carries here, whether it be the Twitch or whether it be the mid laner that Froggy opts to pick up here. Molloy, though, it surprises me a little bit, Orbital. Yuumi and Yasuo, the Yasuo was banned by Molloy here in game one. So if Blue Violet's the one to play it, I'm surprised Molloy is banning it.
I mean, there's some shakeups here, and especially the Farmingdale also giving a lot of respect over towards that set, saying, look, you did really well on it. We can't let it through once again. The Azir now being targeted on Froggy's side, so I mean, all these bans coming out here are making me lose my breath and voice once again, because at this point, just ban out game number one, will you?
Kind of. I mean, why not here? And there is a difference, though, from game number one. Game number one, both sides were picking their solo laners. Farmingdale is still picking their solo laners, but Molloy is looking potentially for jungle or top plus AD carry, unless it's a Yasuo bot, which could be the case, especially into something like Twitch. It actually is a good pickup there. I just don't know how I like it necessarily, because the laning phase does get a little bit rough, especially if the junglers start looking down bot.
You gotta always be careful about that stuff. The Aatrox is still banned away, so still a lot of priority handed up to that top side. Now we do get to see, are you going to pick a mid or a top lane? A lot of questions here. The Aurelia ban, not sure if that was actually necessary, but you know what? We give it to the Mims. The Mims was still annoying on that champion. What do you pick here? It is going to be that hover of the Swain, so a lot of team fight and pseudo tank in the mid lane.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, now that we see the Swain here, Orbital, I actually wouldn't hate it if it is actually a Yuumi Yasuo into the bot lane here, if they wanted it. And the Gragas is still a potential flex option as well. No, it's going to be the Sivir being hovered. So they're still going with the Yuumi Sivir. And Orbital, it's a great skilling lane. But one thing I noticed with Molloy last week in their semifinals against New York Tech was that this bot lane struggled through the laning phase. So, especially against the Twitch here, I'm a little bit concerned for Molloy. If they fall behind and they get killed here, that Twitch could very well take over. And even with that Yasuo for Blue Violet threatening back lines here, I'm worried.
I think we all are, and I think it's appropriate to continue thinking so. But this, oh my lord, I did not expect this sort of challenge coming out here. This is, oh, and it's okay. Gwen here. We have a lot of question marks on our table right now, and this is for multiple different reasons, but this is a blind pick Gwen against the Mims. And I'm going to give us a few moments here because I want to see what the Mims decide to go against this. What do you go? It is going to be the hover of Renekton. Is that locked in? Is that fully done? Okay, we have a Gwen Renekton top lane. RMC, walk us through this. What just happened?
So I will say this, Orbital. I'm hoping it's a Gwen being played into the Renekton top lane. Because the one who actually plays Gwen more on the Molloy team is Blue Violet in that mid lane. And if you're running the Yasuo into the top lane, Yasuo is going to get creamed by Renekton in that top side. So I'm hoping that they actually send the Gwen for your always right and then play that Yasuo in the mid lane instead. I think that's a much safer, better matchup. Even Gwen into Renekton, it is still kind of hard for the Gwen in the laning phase, but you have hopes of outscaling here, and you're not really picking the Gwen necessarily to win lane anyways. You're looking to scale up. I'm just looking at the Molloy comp right now, bro, and I feel like there's a lot of scaling on their side, and I'm not necessarily seeing them bridge to get to that late game. Whereas when I look at Farmingdale here, Graves Renekton, there's a lot of kill threat on that top half of the map here. If that Twitch is as potent as it seems to suggest by the ban in game 1 here, if Bosun and Zukima start to get kills bot side, they can potentially, just that bot lane alone could outskill majority of what Molloy is trying to bring to the table here.
Oh my gosh, this is a big question mark. This is all I can say. And Farmingdale, as you said, another route into the late game. And again, that even accents what we had to talk about in game number 1. Farmingdale, they didn't win the early game. They won it off of team fights late game. So a lot of questions up in the air right now. We'll see if Molloy can come out with the victory. If not, Farmingdale are going to be at a 2-0 and be absolutely stunning position to take this finals. Don't go anywhere. The ECC will be right back. And we are back coming up here on game number 2. And Molloy coming in here just trying their best and bringing out a very interesting composition here. The Gwen caught us off guard for a B5. And, I mean, RMC, we got some questions.
Yeah. Well, we also got an answer, and one that relieves me a lot. It is not going to be Blue Violet piloting that Gwen in the mid lane there. Not for Blue Violets. I'm not concerned for Blue Violet. I was concerned for You're Always Right if you have to play that Yasuo into the Renekton topside. So, at least the laning assignments aren't the worst possible situation here. It's going to be rough still for the Gwen, and even for the Yasuo a little bit in lane, but it's playable.
It is playable, but, you know, right now the frogs are just taking in the views. What did you find there, boy? Oh, you found a rat. Oh. And now we found scissors. What is going on here? What else can we find? Oh! It is a crazy. Oh, there we go. Oh, the lizard. I love these lizards, by the way. These are great.
Is that lizard always there, or is it just there to, you know?
No. It's always there. You're just blind.
Okay.
You're just blind, RMC. How can you not meet? How can you not meet Pete? Pete is the bestest lizard. Okay.
Pete. Then what's this one called?
This one's Larry. Pete and Larry. They have a connection, you know.
Orbital.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Well, you know, we're having. Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no. Sorry, I was watching that and I thought Bosun actually took Expunge. I was gonna cry if Yuumi died right there.
Hey, Reno might die, yeah. Reno's not going back to base here, and is just gonna rush right back down there. We joke that Yuumis, they don't need a health bar because they're just always attached to somebody. But I will say, higher level Yuumis often do hop off their AD carries to poke damage, and I don't think Reno can safely do that anymore.
No, not at all. We are seeing the heals come through, though, and so should have a fairly nice HP bar going into the lanes. But we can see the junglers are starting off on their respective bot sides and going to try and work their way towards top, seeing that Gwen and Renekton get a little bit of help.
Yeah, I'd actually love to see a bit of a cheese right into the bot lane right away from the side of Terrence here with that Graves, just because you already know that Reno's kind of low here, and you can see Bosun and Tsukima want to play very aggressively here. They've got that bush control here, and they just keep popping out. They're just trying to zone them out here, knowing that, hey, Sivir doesn't have that much dueling potential here in the early game.
No, and, that might come back to bite them in the butt a little bit. Well, only time will tell. Right now, the bombs are being ticked away very, very nicely, though, and causing a few annoying pieces here, as you are always right. Gets a taste of the Renekton on the top side, who the Mims again going for that flashing knight. Again, very, very aggressive.
Got very mixed feelings about watching the Mims play it that aggressively here, because in game 1, that was what the Mims did, and it looked good right up to the moment it didn't. So It's like, okay, yeah, I see you there, Mims. I know you've got the Ignite, both of them actually running the Ignite here. You're always right, wants to make sure he can duel, even if he doesn't have that flash.
Oh, the call out here. Terrence. Are we going to get any help? Well, can't even talk about that, as on the top side, you're seeing a fight, and Terrence is going to do it. Terrence has flash. Terrence inside. Oh, you missed. Okay, there you go. You got it. You're still going to trade your life, but you know what? You got the first blood.
Yeah, and You're Always Right kind of knew they were shafted. Again, we're just talking about no mobility spell there. So there's no escape. You have no flash. You have no ghost. The end of turret, you're in trouble. TP coming back in here, and Tazo misses the body slam.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be a dash back. Are you actually going to get it? One more Q might take it. You dash back, and you get the kills. So it is going to be a trade, but in the mid lane, Blue Violet getting a bit violent and taking a solo kill in mid.
Okay, let's go back top for a second there, because for Mims, that was worth. That is actually your fast recall. You died, I think it's a 9-second timer at level 4 there, so it's literally the same amount of time as actually trying to get back to safety and recall there. So the Mims, worth getting that second kill. Mid lane, though, that's not so good, especially for the Swain. Yasuo is weaker in the early game here. If you can't handle him early, mid game, that level 6, once he's completed, 1 or 2 items, that's when you're really going to run into trouble. And for Swain, mid game's usually where you spike too. You don't spike as hard as that Yasuo.
No, not at all. And I mean, we saw some of the trades go down earlier as well, and we kind of felt that this was coming. But I mean, Froggy was, able to hold their own in game number 1. This time around, you're gonna have to do a little bit more. So keeping eyes open on how that lane pans out. If we get a few more kills, we are going to see Tazo start to do a little bit of invading on their own. Get a couple camps for themselves.
Yeah, much earlier than last game here. You love to see it. And for Molloy, it feels like that early aggression, that early strength they had in that game 1 here, they're transitioning to game 2. Now they're looking for a potential dive onto the Mims here, top side. Renekton pre-6 is actually a little bit squishy here. Yes, he can heal up with that call, but once it's down, you can see the Mims knows that, hey, I can't stick around.
Nope, not at all. So, quiet little play. We see the early aggression come out of Farmingdale once again. The early rotates. Blue Violet getting a little bit of a catch. Oh, beautiful job. And now on both sides of the map, but are you going to dodge out an expunge to come through? And you do pick it up. Bosun getting a kill, and you said it, RMC. This Twitch could be a nasty play. So while our eyes were engaged on top, mid was getting a kill for FSC.
Yeah, really well played. You know, Zukima roaming up as well. They push out Tazo here. Tazo doing a great job not dying after getting pincered from every which way there. But it's at the expense of Blue Violet here. And Bosun, oddly enough, actually didn't rotate down immediately. So he is going to miss a wave, maybe even a wave and a half. Zukima sat on a ward here. Guess what, overall? It doesn't matter. Because if you're going to 3-man dive this, even if they spot you, you're always right needs to be running now.
Oh, well, you're going to try your best, but it's just a solo kill out of the Mims, and this is what we were kind of expecting, right? The Mims now in full control of this top lane, and without so much of that possible death afterwards.
Yeah, and you're always right. Makes the right call there. Yes, you end up dying to the Mims in a 1v1. Denied the assist goal to anyone else. So that is the best possible outcome for You're Always Right. I say best possible, but it's not a good one here, Orbital. That Gwen is going to be set further and further behind here. And for all that Farmingdale fell behind, it felt like, in the early level 1 gank, they are significantly more proactive here in this game too. And more importantly, that proactivity is paying off.
And we do see a lane swap here, so... Oh, no. Okay, so the reason I say oh no is RMC, you had some big question marks about the... Okay, so they are swapping back, it looks like, but we were very terrified there for a second.
Yeah, that's good lane assignments there. They're just trying to get You're Always Right, you know, a little bit more farm, catching back up. But yeah, I was thinking for a second, no way you're sending the Yasuo there. Oh, Tazo in his own jungle too.
Yeah, and actually fully pinched out, gets a bomb on their head. Now stunned up, they're going to give it to Bosun, I think. Or Terrence. Terrence is going to take it. Either way, this is Farmingdale starting to turn up the heat.
Yeah, Terrence playing with fire here a little bit. He will have smite up shortly here, but he can't physically stay around. They can, however, go for Dragon if they want here. I wonder if they will, because Tazo just respawned, but between Bosun and Terrence here, I think they have more than enough damage to take this.
I mean, they could, but I don't know if they want to, right? Yeah. They're playing it a little bit safer in Bosun. Uh-oh.
Oh, surprise!
Surprise, rat-a-tat-tat. You are going to burn very quickly, and that's the kill. Bosun is nasty with it.
Wow. Okay, well, I did not expect him to successfully 100-0 with the Yuumi there, and Reno didn't expect it either. Reno still had heal.
That's so mean to point out, right? Like, man, I could have saved my ADC. Too bad I didn't.
Hey, it's comp play. That means they're on comms together. If Marbles wasn't screaming for that heal, that's also on Marble. Nobody expected that burst of damage to come through. And this is with Bosun just sitting on a Vamp Scepter, a Dagger, and a Doran's Blade here. He's not even got the Mythics yet. Just wait for the Blade of the Ruined King to be completed, and then you're really going to see Marbles struggle to push out past River there. And even worse, with the Twitch, you never really know where he is. With that flash, with that ghost, Bosun could be anywhere and can very, very quickly gap close.
Yeah, this is why the Twitch was banned in game number 1, it looks like, right? Just being an absolute menace, and I'm terrified to see what else they decide to pick. Is going to be that Blade of the Rune King start. But look at this top lane. The Mims is being an absolute menace there as well. Farmingdale continuing their all-around aggression, and this time bleeding into global objectives as well. Oh no. Bosun is rude.
This is a 1v2. Like, they know Zukima's not there.
This is brutal. This is horrible. This is so mean to do, and right now we are seeing Tazo getting chased out as Froggy is getting jumped forward. No claw lands though, so no extra. Oh! And now Terrence is now in that mid lane, just
Oh!
watching as the bombs goes down. It should be a follow through. They do pick up the kill. It's a 1 for 2 across the board. Uh-oh, Tazo though. Tazo just... I don't know what else is going on here, RMC. Everything is out of control.
This is Farmingdale slamming the pedal to the metal here across every lane. They're just pressuring away. And while there's a lot of physical kills happening, you know, up top side in the mid lane here, it's not like Bosun's not pressuring either. Bosun is pressuring in a 1v2 situation. You saw Marbles and Reno go up to cover Tazo. That comes at the expense of minions, of turret plates as well. We're not at the 14-minute mark yet, and Bosun's doing that in a 1v2. Not to mention that mid lane, they've completely stabilized it. Yes, Blue Violet's winning the 1v1. Simple solution, just make it never a 1v1.
Well, you know what? Never make it more than a 1v2. It's going to be a 2v2 here. As Bosun flashes forward, is going to get stunned up, and you know what? This time it's not AP Twitch, so you're not as worried, but still forcing Marbles and Reno out of that lane gives full control over to Terrence. You are going to pick up the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, you don't need to kill the enemy. You just need to push them out of lane here. And even scarier to me is the fact that Tsukima just shows up in lane, does that, and Tsukima can always just leave lane right away after that, right? You've already forced them out. You can just pop back in every once in a while. Terrence with Herald gonna pop it down into the mid lane here, and they completely zoned out Blue Violet here. He's not gonna be even close to be able to stop this. They might just lose that whole turret.
I think they are. You can see on the minimap as well. It's a call forward as well with a few extra people. Bosun is going to be here. Now a little bit of catch and a double bomb.
Goodness.
Look at the chain CC. Just annihilates them. Now in comes You Are Always Right, trying to make a little bit of an amends. And Terrence is not going to have the ulti on him, as I think Tsukima is out of mana. Oh, that one hurts. They tried their hardest. Didn't get the tower either. So Farmingdale make a little bit of a mistake.
Yeah, and you can see Farmingdale was thinking, oh, we turned this. We've got that chrono shift. Unfortunately, like you pointed out, Tsukima, I think, didn't realize that he didn't have mana here, so the call wasn't made. Bosun?
Bosun, oh. This one's a bit harder, but that's a reminder that there's a few more summoner spells on Molloy's side there.
Yeah, Blade of the Ring King, not quite completed yet. And Marvels, Reno, Exhaust, Ignite, both burnt there. But that's huge for them. They're able to push this one out here, and more importantly too, they know nobody's going to come down here to relieve the pressure here. Terrence, you know, was in the jungle, is going to take a while to get back there. They had full vision on Tsukima in the mid lane as well.
Oh, Terrence going, I want round 2. No summoner spells really available, and oh my gosh, Bosun is no, that was wrong thing to take a look at. It was actually the little green monster helping out there. Early kill on Marbles, and you know what's a trade back? That's all you really need. Terrence able to gather that kill. But on the top side, we're seeing some messy business about to go down.
Yeah, I'm still hung up on the way Terrence just played that bot side. That was mechanical in its execution there. To Mims just poking. That was poke from Renekton. That's your dash in full combo, dash out here. Still has the Dominus ready to go.
Oh, ward. Beautiful ward call as well from the Mims there. Knew something was fishy. It felt like You Are Always Right was playing a little bit too cocky there. And it's going to be this time a top tower going down. So Farmingdale changing things up here from game number 1. But guess what? Bosun wanted a bit more. Take 2 tower shots. That's how aggressive. That's how confident he is in winning this bot side.
Hey, he had Terrence in his back pocket, so I think that confidence is very well justified.
Yep.
They're doing that between turrets. And this jungle is no longer blue side jungle. It's free for Terrence here. They know they've got that pressure.
Oh,
Tazo stole it!
Right. you said it's free, it ain't free. There is a tax on Tazo coming in with the 50-50 smite there. Oh, but this might be the price to pay. Gonna be a little bit of slow, but again, Violet is very nice and healthy though. Has an extra potion, has the refillables. Is gonna possibly lose this tower, but it's gonna be a quick catch and one more shot. And then with the last breath, is able to survive for a little bit longer. The Ignite, it's not gonna do its work, but it was enough. It's gonna call out even more as Terrence picks up that kill. It's 2 so far. You Are Always Right is gonna try to help, but guess who else is here? It is gonna be the Chrono Shift this time, keeping them all healthy, and the Ignite to follow. It's a finish from Tsukima.
Really well played there from Farmingdale. And like you said, the big difference, this time, Tsukima had mana there. Top side, outer turret down, mid lane, outer turret down. And now, if you're Marbles, if you're Reno, you've got to be terrified. Because anytime you don't see the rest of Farmingdale there, you have enough problems in a 1v2. The moment anybody else shows up, you're dead in trouble.
Well, Bosun just tried to take a swing and still realizes that they're not as OP as they assume they are.
Oh my goodness.
But, I mean, the fact that you're still sitting in the spot lane and just going, I can do this forever, that is... Bosun's a menace right now. And taking a look at the gold lead, you wouldn't think that 13-7 could be a huge disparity, but look at it, right? Almost 7K difference. That is ridiculous at 15 minutes.
Yeah, we were looking at a 5K gold lead in game 1 in favor of Molloy and saying that was massive. That is game winning. 7K here from Farmingdale, the team that managed to turn it around. Now, Blue Violet running for his life will be able to get out for now here, but Terrence... Okay, he really feels like bot side's a jungle.
Yeah, I think at this point, Terrence is just like, look, as long as I have full health, I'm good, right? Like, that's what you're at. And for Molloy, Molloy's just sitting there going, okay, well, what can we do? And you are kind of looking at these global objectives like, can we even try for this stuff? Because if we can't, I mean, what did our composition even do, right? What can we even do? Because we're banking on some of these high priorities. We're banking on the Yasuo and the like, but we can't even get our jungler ready to go and prepped. This is Terrence now chasing down another member. Is going to jump forward. Lost Chapter is going to be in front, but the Chrono Shift will keep him alive. And guess who else is here? This is a dive. This is going to be a chance. They did play a little bit too far. Oh! Double kill for Bosun, who flashes out to safety. Now a catch on the back end, as it will be a kill back. But they're going to fight it. It is going to be Blue Violet trying to chase him down.
Okay.
Flash over the wall, in with the double bomb. Can't get it because of the wind wall. And this might be what Molloy are wanting. No. Froggy shuts that one down with a vengeance. And Reno's going to do Reno things. Reno's going to do
don't show us this.
Yes, we have to see it. It is the kill.
No, not like this. Somebody call animal abuse. Reno, that was painful to watch. And that's what happens when a Yumi can't find a good home. Meanwhile, while that was happening, the Mims got Herald solo without jungler, by the way, runs mid, drops down, takes turret, and is still being an absolute menace here. The Mims might not have the most kills, might not have the most KP, but he's certainly taking the most turrets.
The most global pressure is, I think, what we can really say there, right? The Mims doing very, very well in that sense, and it's a big turnaround, right? I think anything after game number 1 can be called a huge turnaround, right? From 2-7 to a 3-1 start. Beautiful job in that essence. And this game, RMC, is on track to go much faster. And I mean, yeah, that's one of the reasons why this game is feeling like it's going to end much faster than game 1.
Yeah, we said that, Marbles wasn't allowed to walk past River. Now that your outer turrets are down, you're not allowed to walk past your inner turret here. The Mims not even really getting caught out.
Well,
okay, never mind. I take it back.
Yeah. we tried.
Yeah, that was a really good flash from Tazo to follow up there. But where does Molloy go from here, bro? In game 1, we were saying, okay, Farmingdale can still skill up and come back into the game. Molloy's skilling isn't bad here, but specifically the people who need to scale are always right, and Marbles. The two of them need to be able to pop off, but Marbles can't farm safely, so how do you scale back up? And you're always right now is on damage control.
Blue Violet saying, hey, I might have an opportunity here. Can you cut through? This is going to be the big test. Flash away into another kill, and Froggy just says, hey, that was a good battle, and honestly, that could have gone 50-50, but Froggy winning that out gives huge openings in this bot side.
I mean, can it go 50-50? That was Ignite. That was Last Breath. That was everything from Blue Violet. The only 50 I'm seeing there, Orbital, is Froggy's health bar.
Oh. Okay, I can agree with that one, but still it felt, right? Blue Violet trying so hard to kind of get back in this game and get this Yasuo fully online to be an absolute menace.
Yeah, and again, it's not a wrong call to make necessarily, but it does feel like the Yasuo by himself isn't quite enough here. You do need to pair him up with somebody else, and it doesn't just have to be Gragas to enable the knockups. Sure, if you can get a 5-man knockup, that would definitely turn the game. But right now, you just need more damage to be able to finish somebody off. You need healing cut. So if anybody, the one person Blue Violet really needs at his back right now is Reno, because that's the only healing cut. Actually, you're always right, also that's healing cut. But Reno is probably the easier person to carry around.
Yeah, and honestly, Reno can only, outside of the ulti, can only get it on one person at a time, whereas you are always right, would be able to do a bit more AoE if we're really talking about it, but I do agree. In terms of ease to access, you are looking at Reno for that, but the fact that Reno is kind of sitting on Tazo almost on guard duty, right? Considering how often Tazo has been invaded, FSC have done such a great job of taking over that entire jungle. And I mean, really at this point, the entire map's their oyster. It's really, how long do they want to take to cook it?
Yeah, and what objectives are coming up? What oysters are ready for them to pick here? Baron coming up in about 15 seconds. And Farmingdale, they're more than happy to teamfight at this point. They've got strength. They've got advantages in every single lane across the board here. Yeah, sure. Froggy, Bosun, they're down CS, but they're up kills, up assists here. And you can see 20 minutes. They are sat ready and waiting. They've got full vision here. Molloy, if you try and contest this, you get wiped, you lose the game.
I mean, they don't know anything until just now in Bosun. Oh, Bosun. Oh, no, Marbles. Marbles might have spilled their marbles here as Bosun realizes the rest of the team is there. But guess what? You've done enough. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a catch, but no extra barrel behind it. Bosun is going to run forward, and they're going to try and chase out. But again, the chrono shift is just too much. You are always right. It's on the back line, but the collateral damage will finish off one. And because of that, Farmingdale say they've got more than enough to take down the remaining members. It is, you are always right, cut down to 5 deaths.
Picture perfect chrono shift there in Blue Violet. Orbital, here we get to see the violence we've been dreading all game long.
Oh my gosh. Just disgusting.
Yeah, samurais were never designed to be able to handle crocodiles, alligators coming out at them there.
They never had to fight against Australia.
Or Florida, apparently.
Yeah, both. All right, well, we are going to get a little bit of a SD there. So we'll be the Zillion deciding, hey, I don't want to play too much longer. We're going to get the inhibitor tower. Not the inhibitor, though, so a little bit slower to end the game.
Yeah, playing it a little bit carefully here. There's no need to throw anything. And we kind of say slower, carefully. But look, they're still not done pushing here. Damim's still able to push in, threaten this inner turret. And Orbital, Farmingdale are at the point where they can dive turrets if they so wish. Terrence is deceptively tanky with that Gore Drinker. Froggy has Zonia's completed, and we've seen the healing the Swain can do. Even with the healing cut from these Oblivion Orbs from You're Always Right and Reno, it's not enough to take him down. And with the amount of damage that Bosun and Terrence can put out here, yeah, the inhibitor turrets are really not that hard for them to just dive.
No, not at all, because we're seeing this Twitch be an absolute menace as well. The auto attacks just do so much work, and
sheesh.
Just stop. Let Marbles play the game, Bosun. Well, you know what? You can tell people how to play because you're 7-2-5. Go ahead, Bosun. At this point, Froggy's just trying to do a Bosun imitation here, missing a few claws, missing a few tugs and pulls, but it's enough to run the majority share of Molloy College completely out of the tower range. Froggy gets the kill, still has a chrono shift, still getting extra down. Goes into the Zanyas. And I mean, RMC, I think that's it. Farmingdale looks so good here at 23 minutes that they're going to try and end the game. Marbles coming up from the respawn, trying their best to hold off on this fight, but Damims does not care. Damims sitting in front of everyone.
You know what? If there was a 3-man unit for Molloy to try and hold this off with, this is probably the 3-man unit. You can get the last breath onto the back line. There's still a chance you can turn things.
Oh, nope. Nope. RMC, just don't say it anymore.
No, you know what, Orbital? If there's a 2-man core that Molloy can use... Yeah, I mean, they are the damage dealers, but they successfully help. You know what? Yeah, they lost Hazo, but they didn't lose any of the Nexus turrets. Oh, you're always right. Please don't get caught here. Dragon is up here. It's not Soul yet. Farmingdale kind of let Soul slip to the side a little bit here, but Farmingdale's just corralling Molloy in, and look at what we're seeing. Froggy getting that bot site, Terrence going up, securing vision for Nyx Baron here. Orbital Baron just ran out, and Farmingdale are already looking at the next one.
They're just having a blast here. I feel they're just absolutely playing out of their mind. They're getting every objective that they want. Farmingdale are leaving nothing to chance, because even in the chaos, even in that kind of unbridled egoism, they've been playing it exceptionally smart, right? Well, except for this part, as Bosun swung a little bit too far out. But listen, if you're going to be an elite striker, if you're going to be an elite player, you got to have some ego in there. They're going to bait it out. They're going to dance it forward. They left their support all alone. but they're going to get close enough. Knockup is there. Last breath will seal the deal, but you do trade it back. 2 for 1. Make it a third. Farmingdale have done it. They got the core group, and it's all up to You Are Always Right and Marbles to defend the day.
Marbles. I gotta imagine the call from Molloy is just, guys, defend the base. Because Marbles was busy pushing the bot side, and that's the right call when you've got supers pushing in, and the whole team just goes in, and Marbles like, guys, I am the damage. Without me, why are we doing this?
Well, this is all they needed to do. In goes the Gwen to try and hold him off as much as possible, but I don't think it's going to work. You're going to be inside of that shroud, but it's not going to be there. You do get the kills, so you might have sold it out enough. And you're going to trade it back because the game is so short-termed. They're already back. All the players that they killed earlier are already back on the field.
Molloy, hold on yet again here, but it's getting dicier and dicier, Orbital. That Nexus turret is surviving on a hope and a prayer right now there. Oh, are they? Yep, okay.
Just fight it. Just have a blast, right? In goes Terrence. In goes the collateral damage. Not going to be much more than that. But again, Froggy is just... They're playing with their food, it feels like, because here comes the rat. Here comes the sneaky, and bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Few more shots, and you're dead. They just wanted the stat pad, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. It's a rat, but I had Jaws music going in my head watching Bosun swing around the back there. And yeah, now Bosun's back in. They can try and look for that turret once again here.
I mean, they're going to try. Froggy right in the middle of it is in the chrono shift. Is going to get dropped very early on, but I feel like this is going to be enough. Blue Violet, though, is going to find a kill, and because of it, they've left their most vulnerable alive. It is going to be the train. And finally, the ace, as it will be Farmingdale to take those kills.
3 seconds till Marbles comes back up here, Orbital. Is Farmingdale going to try and stat pad a little bit more? Yes, they are. Look at Terrence.
Oh my god, Terrence doesn't care. Terrence does not care. But in comes the erotic.
Mims!
The Mims wanted to have a little bit of fun, but it is going to be the 2-0 to Farmingdale as we move into series point.
Mims played that game 2 so well. I forgot all about game 1. And then he reminded us of it. Going for the fountain there. Straight for the fountain dive. But you know what, Farmingdale having a little bit of fun. Really great game for them in game 2. And I think a lot of it starting in the draft, Orbital. We were talking about the draft. We were worried about the lack of a bridge from Molloy. And it really, really showed every single lane across the board there. Farmingdale got a lead, and they just ran with it.
It was so good to watch, and now we get to see if Molloy can come up with one more strategy. So far, everything has been torn down. Everything has been slapped to the floor. They get one more chance. Farmingdale, one game away. Let's see if they can do it. We'll go to a very short break and be right back. And welcome back, everyone. We are hopping right into draft, I believe, here. So it's going to be a good time. But as you can see right now, Farmingdale leading 2-0 and being absolute menaces here on the Rift. Molloy have got to come up with something here as they have opted to stay on the blue side for Game 3.
Yeah, and I don't know about that one, Orbital. You know, game one, I felt like they had their most success with that counter pick. Now, there was a chatter in chat, Ugly Gibbler, who mentioned that in game one, you know, he heard that Mims was making an Alfredo sauce when he ran it down top, you know, in that first game here. If that's the case, I'm just gonna say it. Mims was making ketchup in game two because it got real bloody real fast in that top lane.
It got super, super bloody. And now taking a look at this game number 3 draft. Feels like we're getting a little bit more of the same. Zukima still in for this game 3. So Farmingdale, I mean, no problems, right, whatsoever. Bosun and Zukima had fantastic moments there as well. But it really does feel like all up to Molloy. How do they want to play this one out? What do they want to ban here? As so far, first 4 are the same.
It's hard to say because there was such a different drop from Farmingdale in game 2 here. And yet Molloy still really struggled. It's going to be that Twitch Orbital. I think that is a fair thing to ban away. Bosun was terrifying, you know, 1v2ing a lot in that bot side here. But I'm still concerned for Molloy because if you're doing blue, you're picking for first pick. And what are you going to first pick? Yuumi? It has to be the Yuumi. You know Farmingdale plays it.
Ooh.
They left Fiora open. They take it. Farmingdale, I mean, that's a free Yuumi for Farmingdale right now.
Yeah, and the big thing is Molloy, I think, were the ones that were banning it out before the Fiora. Unless I'm crazy. So this is going to be interesting, right? And Farmingdale, this is a big... Oh. No. It ain't going to be one of those games, is it?
I mean, okay, the Mims most played champion is Yasuo. I'm just trying to think what the Yasuo Fiora matchup looks like in that top lane here. I've seen Yone played into Fiora before, and I think that's Yone favored. Yasuo, I'm not sure. I feel like the Repulse can do a lot of damage to that Yasuo.
I just... Alright, well, they are going back to the Zillions, so at least that's appropriate. And you know what? I like it, right? Grabbing that Yasuo, saying, hey, the Yasuo can be a threat if we're a little bit worried. No worries too much there. There we go. We do get to see previous bans. Is that correct?
Yes, that is the game 2.
Right, okay. So I just want to double check.
Yeah, because that Zillion gets locked in here for the side of Zukima. It's not Liz coming in. I guess maybe Zukima doesn't play that Yuumi quite as much here. So Molloy, despite what happened there, they get themselves Sivir Yuumi. And most importantly, Orbital, they get it. And Twitch is not on the table for Farmingdale here.
Yeah, we said this last time. It's a little bit of a twist up. So let's see what they opt to do. Farmingdale so far have matched the drafts. So next up should be ADC. At least that's what we're hoping for. Eyes are open here. So many options are available on the table. It is going to be that Jinx that Farmingdale did play in game 1. I don't think that's terrible.
No, not at all here. And the thing with Jinx Sivir is that there was that period where, you know, it's like Jinx, Zeri, Sivir, Felios were sort of the top picks to come through here. And Sivir at that time was beating out Jinx ever so slightly by just being able to do more damage in team fights here. But Jinx always outranged her. And so it came down to a lot of trying to pressure out the AD carries for both of these teams. So far from what we've seen, I feel like Yasuo is a better backline threat than Fiora is right now. Fiora will struggle to go in all the way, just brute forcing it from the front. She's got to find flanks. Yasuo does not have that problem whatsoever. And Orbital, with the bans coming through, it looks like Molloy agrees with us. They think the Mims is going to take that Yasuo here. And so they're still targeting that mid lane. Azir, great takeaway. I think Froggy had a pop-off game. And more importantly, this game with Shurima Shuffle, that sets up the Yasuo. So far, there are no other knockups on the side of Farmingdale.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe they don't need it. Maybe that's the key figure to the Mims. Maybe that's it. You know what? Maybe not. We'll see. Of course, it is still targeted towards that mid lane. The Akali also banned out, but the Hecarim, I do like it. Terrence, not allowed to play that one. Not allowed to play that proactive jungler. And for the first time, it is not going to be the mid-top that we're waiting to see. It is going to be the jungle mid-top all the way around. Diana, okay. If you're not going to go Gragas, you are going to go Diana.
Yeah, it's not necessarily something that comes to mind when I think of Terrence necessarily when I look at a champion pool, but Yasuo Diana is tried and true here overall. It is incredibly easy to execute, and the burden is on Terrence. We've seen Terrence engage with Hecarim. If you can out with the Hecarim, you can out with the Diana.
I feel, you know, I feel like you can ult, but the situations might be very different. And okay. In honor of the new TFT set, we are getting a Fiddlesticks coming out as the counter to the Diana.
And the question now, Orbital, is what are you going to pick in the mid lane? You kind of need something with Engage here. Recall back to game 1, you didn't have Engage. Fiddlesticks is not Engage. Yes, he's a bit of a surprise, you know, when he hops over the wall, but I wouldn't consider him safe Engage. We see the set come through once again. So,
man.
Hold up, Orbital. Where is this Fiora going?
I think you can only go
Set
one
mid?
area. I think it's mid. I think we are getting a spicy setup here from Molloy. We did say they needed to bring something out. This is one way to do it. What are we going to see, Farmingdale? Farmingdale, you got to bring us something good. Okay. My jaw hit the ground. All the air is gone. What?
I'm just trying to work this through right now, Orbital. The Varus. Okay, you know what? If it's the Varus mid, it's got to be Varus mid at this point. Varus does not work well in the long lane. He's not like the likes of Draven, Vayne. He doesn't have a speed up or an escape in his kit. Neither does he have, you know, that sort of easy sort of CC. Yes, you've got Chains of Corruption, but that's an ultimate here. Ideally, you don't want to be using it to disengage. So that's probably a Varus mid. And I'm thinking here, if that's a set in the mid lane, I really like the Varus. Because with that slowdown, Varus will struggle to engage onto you. He almost has to burn a flash or a summoner of some sort to really reach the Varus unless you miss position. But if that's a Fiora mid for Blue Violet, like it's showing right now, I don't fancy Varus's odds too much. Yes, you have a range advantage, but Fiora's got enough gap close that she can easily gap close on you. And we've seen what happened when AD carries get caught by duelists.
I don't even want to think about it, but we're going to have to. And right now, it is all on the line here. Molloy are currently sitting with one of their most interesting compositions today on this series. And Farmingdale are doing somewhat of the same. So we'll go ahead, throw it to a very quick break, let you gather your own thoughts and opinions about this draft. And we'll be right back in just a few. And here we go. Game number 3. Everything on the line here. And Molloy, I mean, I give them as much credit as we can because they are coming out with some absolute passion. I love the champions that they decide to go with. Will it work? Only time will tell.
Yeah, they brought the cheese. They brought the spice, Orbital. Now they need to bring the dub, or else Farmingdale will not only take away the ECC champion title from them, Farmingdale are going to do it without dropping a single game all season long.
Oh, man. And they're hoping to do it again, right? This composition is also a little bit wacky, I would say, right? A little bit different than what we were expecting, but the Mims still going for a little bit of awesome chaos. But you are always right. You are always right. I must complete the reps.
Yeah, he's just warming up. You know, he knows he's got to carry this game, so you know he's just warming up in anticipation for that. Oh, bro, you know we had some time to think about, discuss, you know, off screen how we think these games are going to play out. We spent a lot of time talking about Molloy. Let's talk about Farmingdale's composition. It's Diana Yasuo comp. It's actually really strong front to back fighting here. They don't have a hard tank. They don't need it. You've got Zillion. And Zillion's kind of like Lulu. They make a pseudo tank out of somebody here, especially if Terrence does opt to go for that Zhonya's. We saw it last game with Froggy on the Swain. Zhonya's plus Zillion. You live very, very, very long. The enemy team won't because you've got a lot of damage. Molloy, on the other hand, this composition looks a little bit like comfort picks to me. Picks that they're saying, okay, you know what? Individually, we have agency to carry. Any one of these champions could pop off here. We're not thinking about team fighting. We're not thinking about cohesion because that hasn't been the name of the game this series long.
Gotta adapt to overcome, and I think that is the most appropriate to think about. But Bosun eating a decent chunk as both ADCs drop into the less than 300 HP scenario. Seems like they both have both got some words for each other as we see another duel in both mid and top. I am loving this early aggression from all the lanes at this point. Everyone getting in on it.
Yeah, Bosun burning both summoners there. Zakima actually had to burn Exhaustible. This is not a Twitch. Jinx does not win any early game fights here. You've got to play it safe. Even as I say that, though, we flashed down bot, and somehow Bosun won that fight. Like, off-screen, what?
Please keep making RMC wrong, and then I can actually say that that we're good here, but it's only one instance of a few. And I feel that's more Zukima than anything, right? Those bombs causing so many problems, but oh no. Oh boy.
The Mims on that solo kill here. And this is not like game one. Game one, you are always right, took TP. So granted, you know, if he doesn't win that fight, that's somewhat expected. You're down a combat summoner. You're always right, took Ignite this time to try and match up against the Mims. Make sure that, hey, I can take control of the lane early. Well, that didn't work out.
Not at all, and the fact that you lose it so close to lane, this is one of the more dangerous times to be against the Yasuo, right? You are now down well over 2 waves, losing out on that experience, and all right, Blue Violet just getting some angry revenge for what happened top lane.
You know, I'm thinking back to the beginning of the stream when we first introduced the teams, and we're saying that, hey, for Molloy, Blue Violet's been a big part of their team's success here. He's been that big carry player. That hasn't been the case this series so far here. And I think Blue Violet, the Fiora pick, I doubted it. I still have many questions, but at least so far, he's made it look good here. Especially when you consider the Varus was the last pick here. Froggy, I don't want to say he knew what he was getting into because we didn't know what we were getting into, but he knew he was either facing a set or a Fiora here.
And when you're in that situation, you have to always kind of plan for the worst, I feel, right? Have to plan for those situations that account for, hey, you know, I'm going to be screwed, but you know what? That's not really what we're watching for. We're watching this top side. We're having a blast, but now on the bot side, we get a flash from Tazo. Tazo is going to watch as we get an easy kill on Bosun. Top side, though, you are always right, is now under their own tower.
You are always right. Had to burn the flash there. The Mims up experience from that early kill because you're always right. Lost out entire wave there. You're always right. Has to be very, very careful. The Mims here waiting for that level 6 halfway there. The moment he takes 6 or the moment Ignite comes up, whichever happens first, Orbital, I think we see a kill top with neither of them back.
At this point, it's kind of I want to say half expected or necessary, right? Because of how mid and bot are going right now. So the Mims is actually has a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
I don't know if it's his shoulders or on your always right shoulders here.
True.
Demims is chilling. He's winning out this top side right now. And like you mentioned, both junglers kind of showing at the bot earlier. They know that top lane is going to be isolated a little bit longer. Now, we do have to keep in mind junglers a little bit because Diana is a jungler who wants to hit level 6, wants to power farm, doesn't really want to gank early on. You're looking to just get your ultimate. Fiddlesticks, on the other hand, can be very effective at ganks, as we saw on that bot side. So Demims has to be aware of that, and I'd like to see that ward drop to make sure that he knows he's not going to get counter ganked.
Well, bot side, we're seeing a little bit of a song and dance as Reno is trying to dance it out. Gets taken quite low, but bailed out by Marbles. And that fight is never ending, of course. So Reno very happy to heal up. As, again, keeping these a little bit smooth, but here we go. Level 6, as you said, RMC. This was within calculations.
Yep, level 6 or Ignite, or both. In this particular case, the Mims very easy gets that kill. And you can see Tazo was thinking about, hey, I'm going to go top, I'm going to cover you. Well, it didn't matter. You're always right, died way too quickly there for Tazo to be able to find anything. Overall, the other lane, you touched on the bot lane a little bit, and I do want to talk about bot lane a little bit, because yes, there's a lot of action happening down there, but look at the CS differential. Marbles is crushing it right now. That is, what, a 15 CS. That is 2.5 waves advantage from Marble here. Incredibly well played from them, and that's a sign of hope. That is where Molloy is probably looking to here to try and, maybe carry them through the mid game, maybe towards that late game a little bit.
Oh, one can only hope here. As we are going to see still more testing on this top side. As Terrence is now going to take an angle. Again, this Diana, you're waiting to see if you can get some work done, but you're not going to get too much. Throwing out a bit of extra angles. Ooh, got level 6 off of that. Are you waiting? Are you going to go? Nah.
You're waiting for Demims because Diana 6 is great. It's good. I don't think you actually have enough damage to 100 to zero anybody right now. You need that Yasuo here. And Terrence, I thought, was playing with fire a little bit there, but does manage to take 6. And now Demims is there. You're always right. Has to be careful.
Not careful enough. This is going to be the brutalization that you were not ready for.
Okay.
Rest of the team is here, though. Rest of the team is ready to go.
Okay.
And that's how you deal with this situation. Beautiful job by Molloy.
Really well baited. I did not think that Molloy was going to be in that, even in a 3v2 situation, but it pulls off perfectly well. And more importantly, Blue Violet getting the kill there, or getting the assist there as well. That's your, that and your bot lane were kind of the lanes you need to focus on. Blue Violet was actually not exactly winning out the mid lane after getting that first kill. Froggy's been playing that lane very well, making sure that he's not at risk at dying. Taking advantage of the fact that he's ranged into melee to be able to just power farm here. And now, hey, maybe if you've got more than one winning lane, Molloy, maybe they can replicate some of that success from that game 1 in the mid game here.
I mean, you're hoping, you are praying for that situation, because so far in all 3 games, this one included, of course, in that 3, Molloy have actually been up in the early stages. They have almost consistently been up. Game 2, I think, was a little bit of an off, but they have had success in the early stages, is transitioning outwards from there. So, seeing a very slight kill lead is appropriate, but this is the big problem, right? You are always right, just trying to run back to lane. You are trying your best.
You're always right. Just lost half of his health trying to walk back to lane here. Mims is proxy farming him here. Last breath cooldown is not that long. Ignite is up as well here. And it's not just terrifying that the Mims is, kind of bullying your always right under turret. What's even more scary is the fact that Mims can always just roam out as well here. And now that Mims is level 6, Diana is level 6, Terrence here, able to set him up from a screen and a half away.
Well, what isn't going the way of Farmingdale is actually this bot side who, having picked up that Jinx as the 3rd pick, it's actually getting bullied quite hard, right? Down about 20 CS after that first kill. It does feel like Farmingdale have kind of opted into, well, we can't really fight that one, so we are going to focus on this top side as much as possible.
Yeah, and they're fine with that. Bosun still down significantly in CS here, but kind of stabilized it a little bit. It was down, I think, what did we say? It was about 16 CS here. It's not that far off now still. So Bosun's doing fine. Froggy just wants to power farm here. And more importantly, it's up to Molloy to try and break this equilibrium. If it gets broken because this topside turret goes down here, that's not favorable for Molloy. That's when that trouble, the problem that is the Mims, gets unleashed completely onto everywhere else on the map.
Ooh, well, right now, that is a scary thing, but with the Mims still caught on this top side, it does feel like not too much is going to come from it, because we can see here mid lane getting a little bit of fight in themselves as well. Blue Violet having to flash away and stay safe means that no kills will round out that mid lane aggression.
Yeah, flashes being traded between mid laner and support, or not even the flash, actually, it was just the exhaust from Zukima. Okay, you're always right.
Yeah, and the Mims is going to get ignited, stepped up a little bit too far, and honestly, this looks great, but the flashes are up on both sides, so if you do choose to chase, it could be powerful. You are always right, though. You don't really have more than just the run-up on him.
Yeah, the flow completely charged for the Mims there, so he was ready and waiting to turn around, and look at how You're Always Right's building. A lot of tanking, not enough damage.
There really isn't, but now in comes the last breath, and guess who else is here?
Oh!
Flash out, and you turn it around. What a play here. That is going to be Terrence getting the beautiful ulti down.
You're always right. Perfect flashes game one to constantly land that haymaker there. But the moonfall from Terrence messed it up, and the Mims gets to live. The chrono shift was just icing on the cake. It wasn't even